Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. Let me share my screen real quick. Today we're going to talk about customizing Google Maps. We will talk about both built-in functionality, how you can use it and how you can customize it. And we will also talk about doing something that our built-in Google Maps do not support. So let's start with some basic functionality. We have a customers table, and I want to display my customers on the map. And also I want to customize the icons and markers. So it's a typical customers table. We already have fields here with latitude and longitude, and these fields are being populated previously. Geocoding. Okay, yeah, I can see that fields are populated here. And we just want to, instead of a default marker icon, we want to display something custom that depends on that specific customer. So let me show you how it looks, as I already added some code there. Okay. And this is customers table. And this is our map. You can see that we use here country flags as icons. I have downloaded and added the code for France, Spain, and Germany. And for everyone else, I display some sort of international icon. Okay, these icons are 32 by 32. Maybe they can be made a little bit smaller. Maybe 24 by 24 would be better, but you can experiment with in your application. So how do we do this? First of all, on the list page of customers table in the page designer, we are inserting custom map. It is. I already inserted here. Above a new button. And if you double click on it, it shows us the default code inserted there. So most of this code is by default. These fields were selected when I specified geocoding settings. I will show you where I did it. But what we're looking at here, there are couple of settings: marker icon and marker field. Marker icon, it is useful when you specify marker icon like a custom icon, but that will be the same for all records. And if you want to do something fancy like we're doing, you can use marker field. And the marker value, the name of the icon, will be coming from the database. So marker field is marker. So we do not have this kind of field in the database. I have modified SQL query, and I have created, edited it as a calculated field, country as a marker. So our marker field contains values like France, Spain, Germany, Mexico, Brazil, etc. That's our marker field. So let me show you how we can convert it into the URL of an image. We don't want to store the actual image files in the database because it will be a pain to modify if you decide to change a file name. So we're just using we base our logic on a country name, and this is the event where we're doing it. It is list page before record process event. So we are checking what the current value of country field, and if it is France, images friends.png, same with Spain, same with Germany. And if our country is not on the list, we just display some sort of a default icon. So this can be, obviously, you can have a lookup table where you can build a dependency between a country name and image that represents this country. You can do something even more fancier. For instance, you can display custom icon for every customer based, I don't know, like maybe like a profile picture or something. Like you can do anything you want. In our example, I just show you how to do it based on country name. So let's see. I mean, it's really simple. This is what the code does, and marker field will have one of these values. So let me show you where we are adding those images themselves. Right, you can either go to the output folder, and under images, you can just add those files there. But a little bit more flexible, you want to store it in the project themselves. So if we go to, okay, let me show you how to get there. We go to output screen, open output folder, go one level up to the project folder. Again, this is something that applies to version 10.91. So it will be slightly different story with version 11, and we will have obviously a separate tutorial for this purpose, right? I just showing you how to do it in 10.91 in source file, because there will be something similar in version 11. It's just not going to be file based, it's going to be database based, and you will need to do the same thing in via PHPRunner itself. So source page, I have some CSS, some JS, and I have images. These are 4 images that I have. I can download a couple more images, modify my code, and they'll appear on the page. So let's do it just to show you an idea, right? Like an exercise. Okay, what other European country is here? It's UK. Let's do something with UK. I remember I was using website name flat icon, and let's try UK. Okay, I like it to be a rectangle, and I choose the same size, which is probably a little bit bigger than it should be, but it's okay. And I'm doing here United Kingdom, and I just copy this file, and I go to source folder, and I paste it here. Okay, let's take a look. What's the name? And it's UK is just UK. So we need to modify our code, adding one more if statement, right? We can just copy and paste, which is not always the best idea, but it's going to work in this case. Country name UK, and file name is, okay, click build again, make sure this file is being copied there, and then we will try to troubleshoot it if we have to. Two customers, we probably have more from UK, because let's display all of them. And our map will display everything. Yeah, I mean, probably 24 by 24 or even 16 by 16 would be better. Or we may try to do, again, we're talking about maps customizations, right? And this is some, not a real life scenario, but something that is close enough. I would say it's not unreasonable. Project save. Let's talk about something else. So one of our customers needed to display polygons on a map. They need to highlight some areas. For instance, you can think about zip codes, right? You want to highlight certain zip codes on the map. And what they have in the database is, let me show you here, or probably directly in the database. Yeah, because it's going to be truncated. Yeah, it doesn't help much. But you can see there is a set of latitude, longitude coordinates that describe the polygon on the map. So let me show you how it actually looks, and maybe it will make a little bit more sense. So let's build it again. So this is the kind of functionality that we do not have in our software, and unlikely we will ever have it as a built-in functionality. Maybe we will, I don't really know. If enough people ask, we will do it. So by default, it displays the whole map, right? And let's take a look at something like we implemented click event, row click event, West Palm Beach, Florida, right? And here it is. You can see that it shows us this kind of area right here, and Phoenix, Arizona, right here, or New Orleans. I'm not sure what's up with the zoom, like it doesn't zoom automatically. So probably we can experiment and make zoom it in a little bit by default. But anyway, so let's take a look at the coordinates here. So we can see that is a set of latitude, longitude pairs that describe the polygon. And that's something that is a slightly more complex area. So let me show how it's done. So first of all, data in the database is stored in JSON format. It's not the only option. It's just easier if it's stored this way already. We can just get it from the database. So we already have our data in the database in a format that is ready to be sent to Google Maps. Except with one exception, our Google Maps do not support it, so we need to do it custom way. And what is important about this is that very simple technique that allows you not just to use Google Maps with some new functionality, but when you plug in basically any kind of external JavaScript code that creates some sort of a visual representation of something, and I have another example for you. So this is how you do it. Again, it's really, really simple, and that should not be a problem doing in your own project with any kind of external JavaScript that displays something on the page. So let's take a look. First of all, that's location table, page designer. I have added here another code snippet. It's called location snippet, and let's take a look at the code. And let's see what I'm doing here. I'm specifying my Google API code. Let me do it this way and then make it a little bit more readable. Okay. So we found an example on the web about how to do this kind of rectangles, polygons, whatever, and polygons. This is the idea. You need to include two JavaScripts, the one from polyfill.io. We just included using version from their website. We don't even need to download it. Okay, it's easy. Then we display div like by default doesn't show anything. All what we need to know about it is that we specify sizes, height and width, and we also specify ID, which is map. This is how we communicate with, we need a placeholder, and placeholder needs to be created in PHP code. So this is our placeholder, and we include our JavaScript that we need to, one from polyfill.io and another one from Google Maps API. We just need to make sure that we include our API key. And just remember that API key needs to have Google Maps API enabled, and it needs to be restricted to only work on your website. You don't want someone to steal your JavaScript API, because this code will be visible on your page. So you don't want someone to steal your API key and use it while you have to pay for it. So you need to restrict it to be only accessible on your own website. So that's our first part. So if we take a look in the code, in the generated code, we see the result of this PHP code, view page source. Okay, that's our code. That's our first script. That's our div with ID equals map. And then there is Google Maps API JavaScript with our key in the URL. So we're all set here. So what we're doing next, you can see that we do not display. This is what our customer wanted. And as usually, most of our tutorials based on what our customers were asking for. So we implemented click event, row click event. And let me show you what code we have there and how we communicate with our map from this code snippet, from this click row event. Okay. So we go to pages screen, and this is our click actions. And let's take a look at this code snippet. As usually, like any functionality that is Ajax based, we have client before, server, and client after. Nothing in client before, on a server part of the event. What we're doing here. So first of all, we get a hold of the current record. Usually we can use more comments, get current record data. Then we decode coordinates, so they are specified as an array. Again, our customer already had it in JSON format. It can be in any other format. It just was more convenient to have it in that format in the database. So what we do it here, we decode our JSON, and it is stored in array named coords, array with coordinates. So second step, we need to center our map. So we go through all the records in this array, and we calculate the rectangle that bounds our area. We calculate both x and y max and min values. This is the code that does it. And then our x and y are coordinates of the center of the area. And then we pass the whole array and two values with x and y values over the center to our client after event and client after event. So let's experiment, by the way, and instead of Zoom 5, let's try Zoom 7. Probably we can also calculate the size of the area, and if you guys want it, we can do that probably, and calculate zoom dynamically. That's probably going to be fun, but I'm not sure like if our areas are that different, so it's probably the matter of finding the great default value. So, oh, sorry, we didn't finish it. Let's see what we're doing here. So, first of all, we create a new Google map, and we use our placeholder get element by ID map, our placeholder div right here. Other parameters are zoom, center that we calculated on in our PHP code, and map type ID. And then once we created a map, we create a new polygon. I hope I pronounce it right. And we specify a bunch of other parameters here that you can also customize. That what is the most important part. We pass an array with coordinates here, and center was already specified when created the map object, and then we just make the map to display. That's pretty much it. So definitely not a rocket science, easy starter code that you can modify. It's just a matter of getting correct set of coordinates right here. So let's see what it does with this zoom that equals 7. Okay, let me save this project. I just want to see if it makes more sense. And again, this zoom is probably something that we can calculate on the fly if we want to, based on, but we will have to experiment with that. I mean, we already have X and Y coordinates, min and max, so okay, it's our location table. Let's see if zoom 7 makes more sense. It definitely makes more sense, right? Maybe even 8, but again, it depends. If you're working with zip code, it's one thing. If you're working with whole countries, this is totally different story. So depends on your data. You can probably New Orleans definitely can be zoomed in. Chicago, again, we can zoom in a little bit more. Definitely can use 8. Or maybe we can calculate it. Or this one, it just doesn't make much sense. Okay, so probably we can, but we will need to experiment to see what kind of like area makes sense, what kind of zoom.